Hi, I'm Lou, and today I'm going to show you some redecorating we've been doing inside our Mini Winnie. This is the 2500 FL, but they're all pretty similar inside. We started here in the dining nook. Those used to be dark brown vinyl. That was a slightly darker back. This table was actually this material, and we took it out and replaced it with real wood. And then we did these valances, obviously pillows and this ornamental stuff. And also we've repeated the valances there, and then used that same material on the pillows there. We added this rug and then these blanket things up there. Here's what it looked like before. We sent all that stuff out for reupholstery, but we did the valances ourselves. I left one the old way. I'm going to show you exactly how I did it. A couple screws hold this up, and I'd recommend a drill with a square drive tip. A Phillips will work, but these lock in better. So there's one screw there. And you'll have to look up underneath, but there's one there and one there. And then this whole thing just comes off. And there's a better view of the screws that I was talking about. We'll take off this little angle bracket and do the reupholstering in our kitchen. We need to get all these staples out, and I like to use a little pointed tool, and you kind of just get under one side and pry it up like that. And then use a pair of pliers and pull the other side out. Save this inner backing, we're gonna reuse it. If your fabric is tough enough, you might just be able to pull and get the staples out that way. It's a little bit faster. There's all the staples ripped out from the back side, so now we can peel this all off, flip it over. There are two wooden parts to this. You flip this part over, and this is just a board on top and then a box underneath. And you can get under this board and pry it up, and it's only stapled in a few places, so it just comes right off. Now remove these and these staples to get all the fabric off the wood. Save the old fabrics for use as patterns. There's the box, there's the plate, and you can get these staples out by pushing down here and then pull them out from the other side. So here's the larger piece of fabric that covers most of the box, and we're going to replace it with this. I put them both good sides down. So if we ignore this little arch for now, the whole thing is 12 inches wide. I found lining up the edge of the fabric with a countertop and then holding 12 inches there and then putting dots all along here works well. And then I just cut a line through them. We have plenty of length, so we'll cut off this fuzzy end. I found these are not always very straight, but I like to draw a straight line right about there and cut. Okay, now lay your pattern on top, hold this down, and put your black dots all along here to form that arc, and cut it out. A word of caution, I actually messed this up before and almost did here too because I forgot. So this fabric has a direction, meaning I want these leaf things to point up, and you want the arch on the bottom. Don't accidentally cut the arch over there. This is a little confusing, but you actually want your big fabric stapled to this plate. And if you measure the distance to the fold from the top, it was about 6 inches. And so I set that at about 6 inches. And then you want it centered along here. I taped it down so it won't move very much, and got it hanging over the edge so I can cut. And you want to cut to within about 1/4 inch of the wood like that, and do it, I don't know, about every 1.5 to 2 inches. I just fold each of these over and staple them down. I'm using an office stapler because the wood is soft and you need a really short staple here. Some of these staples go in perfectly like that. Sometimes they don't like that, but don't worry, they all hold. Here's our smaller material that we're replacing with this stuff. Good sides down and do the same thing. So now we have the box centered on the smaller fabric, and you want the top lined up with the top of the fabric. Cut and staple just like before. You probably could do the whole project with this, but this is a harder wood, and it's better to use a stapler like this or an air-powered one like this. I've got a staple that has a 3/8 inch leg depth, which corresponds to that 3/8 inch thickness there. So we'll bring these sides over and staple them. Pull these a little bit tight so there's no slop on the front. So for the ends, you want to pull this at kind of a 45 and staple. Then you kind of fold this over like you're finishing a Christmas gift. Now we should be looking about like this, and we want this tight but since it's going to be covered, I'm just literally going to tape it down. So again, with all this, you just want to take out the slack in the material. Don't pull it so tight that it kind of has wrinkles. There's our separate board and there's our box laying on top of it, and you want to line up those edges right here and obviously on the ends. Really 4 staples is enough here. Now fold this over, pull it fairly tight, and just put 1 staple right in the middle only. Now we'll wrap the ends. You want to fold the material over and bring it back so it forms an even line like that. Pull tight and staple it back there. Now continue across here. Okay, this last piece is a little difficult to explain. We end up with this sort of elephant ear back here. And what you want to do is fold it down this way from the side and then bring it back over this way from the top. And you want to manipulate it so that you have this edge kind of coming in just past the edge of that so it can easily fold under there. And then staple it from the back. And then just kind of pull this tight along here and finish these. Now do the same thing on the other side. Finally, we're going to put our backing material back in there just to cover everything up. Use the little stapler along here and the bigger stapler back there. Then I like to use a Sharpie to color all these black because you actually can see them if you're standing outside the camper and you look up. Back in the camper for the reinstall, we'll start by putting this little bracket. I think it might be easier to mount it on there first. I can't get the camera under the valance very well when it's in place, but remember we're going to screw these up when it's up there. So up it goes. The 2 top screws are mounted. Now we just need to put this last screw in that bracket to stabilize it. There it is, all done. Thanks for watching, and check out my other camper videos playlist.